This is the text, The USA in the 20th Century, Part 2. We must take a look at the new words before we start reading. Repeat after me. Refrigerators. Kjøleskap. Hoovers. Støvsugere. Were becoming. Var I ferd med å bli. Goods. Varer. Lasted. Varte. Youth culture. Ungdomskultur. Now, let's start reading. The Cold War was a period of conflict between the democratic countries in Western Europe and the USA and the communist countries in Eastern Europe and the Soviet Union. There was never a real war, but the relationship between the two sides was cold. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, the Cold War ended. The 1950s. This was a time of economic growth and optimism in the USA. People had refrigerators, television sets, and hoovers. Cars were becoming common, and American goods were popular all over the world. The USA and the Soviet Union were the two superpowers. They started the Cold War, which lasted for decades. Rock and roll music and teenage idols like James Dean and Elvis Presley created a new youth culture. This is a picture of a young James Dean, and James Dean was a famous actor in the 1950s. And he died when he was in his 20s, and he died in a car accident. Woodstock Music and Arts Fair, New York State, 1969. The 3-day concert became a famous cultural event of the late 1960s. President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, Texas on November 22, 1963. Let's take a look at some new words. The Civil Rights Movement. Borgerrettighetsbevegelsen. The Space Race. Kampen mellom Sovjetunionen og USA om å komme først til månen. Slogan. Slagord. Missile. Rakett. Fair. Marked. Event. Begivenhet. Assassinated. Myrdet. The 1960s. This was a time of war and change. It was the time of the Civil Rights Movement. The Space Race. The Cold War. The Vietnam War. And the hippies. The Vietnam War was the first war that people protested against. The slogan of the hippies was, "Make love, not war." In 1962, the Cold War almost turned into real war. During the Cuban Missile Crisis. In 1969, the American astronaut Neil Armstrong was the first man to set foot on the moon.